great.
Are you ready, Professor?
I am all set. Thank you, Sean.
Now, most people are passionate about where they come from. They're very defensive of where they come from, too. And whenever anyone's talking about their city, it always follows with my city's the best for the following reasons. People are very passionate about where they come from. And I often find people get very defensive when people say, oh no, where you come from is nowhere near where I come from. So in order to avoid this conflict, I'm arguing that New Orleans is not the best city in the world. However, New Orleans is probably the most unique place you will ever go. Not just in the United States, but I believe in the world. Now, New Orleans is unique for 4 reasons. First, the music. Second, the food. Third, the demographics. Fourth, and finally, because of Mardi Gras. Now, New Orleans has had a lot of influence throughout its years of existence. First being a Spanish colony, then turning into a French one, then back to the Spanish, maybe back to the French, and eventually being adopted by America. And then over the years, it almost acting as a city that a lot of immigrants were able to come through and later populate the rest of the United States. From this, you have many different types of food. French Creole, Spanish, French influences, so beignets, gumbo, jambalaya, food that you would not find in other parts of the country. That makes New Orleans unique. Many significant chefs have come out of New Orleans. World-class restaurants like Commander's Palace, that when you walk in, they have to ask you, do you want dessert? Because it takes upwards of an hour for them to make it. Unique and creative foods and things that they make down south are things that you're not going to find anywhere else. The second reason why New Orleans is unique is because of the music that comes from the city. Just like food, there have been many cultural influences that a lot of New Orleans musicians have had in creating new music. Most notably, there's jazz. Small jazz houses led to the explosion of jazz that eventually moved upwards north into Chicago, then eventually into New York. Individuals like Louis Armstrong paved the way for African Americans in the music industry. Then later down the road, not just jazz comes from New Orleans, but artists like Lil Wayne, who led rap development. Big Frida, who currently leads the trap movement in New Orleans, creating the most insane beats and trap music you'll ever hear in your life. So there's so many different types of music and different things to listen to and ways to have fun that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's not just one type of music that comes from New Orleans. If you like it, or if you want to find and kind of experiment, you'll find it in New Orleans. Now, the third reason why New Orleans is probably one of the most unique places you'll ever go is the demographics. Now, people from all different walks of life live in the city of New Orleans, and that's what makes it unique. There's a very huge African-American presence within the city itself. Then as you move towards the outskirts of the city, this is where you find your stereotypical rednecks. Where I live, it's quite weird, because going 10 minutes in one direction, I can find myself in the middle of the city, which has a very heavy African-American presence, very heavy rap, jazz presence. That's where you find a lot of the urban culture. Going 10 minutes the other direction, I find myself in Bayou Bienvenue, launching a boat out to go catch crawfish. So the landscape and the people changes very dramatically. Fourth and finally, and the main reason why New Orleans is unique is because of Mardi Gras. And I know my Rook brothers have heard me say this many times and probably going to get annoyed with this, but there's no city on the face of the earth that shuts down for an entire week for the sole purpose of partying. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Businesses shut down for Mardi Gras. Kids do not go to school. Everyone parties for a week. It is the most fun, at least I have ever had in my entire life. And what mainly makes that experience so unique, the experience of Mardi Gras, it doesn't matter what color your skin color is, where you've come from, your sexual orientation, what you identify with, doesn't matter, because everyone comes together to party. It is one of the most unifying events you will ever see in your life, especially with political and racial tensions at such a high point in this country. It is refreshing when I was able to look at the cameras that they have on Bourbon Street and watch people intermingle together, regardless of who they were, complete strangers becoming friends, meeting on the streets, sharing a daiquiri together. So, although many cities have their things that make them unique and make them great, there is no more unique city than the city of New Orleans. Thank you.